Hello, hello. Today I'm gonna do more font rendering stuff. It's gonna be so fun. So let's see, what should I do? What can I do? Um, so yeah, one thing I noticed I want to fix is right at the end of last stream, I noticed I have height here twice. I want to change this to be width. And then yeah, okay, so then last time I made some functions here to take a U32, an unsigned int or a signed int or a float, and convert them to a character array. So that way I can display them on the screen as text. But I have a suspicion that I really did rush through these and I didn't test them that thoroughly. So I don't think I have them working 100% the way I want. And I'm just going to test that really quick because I have a suspicion that if I if I just try to render a 0, well, let me just, okay, let me do this here. Make a buffer, say 32. Then I'll say, let's say U32, I'll say S32 to character array. And then, so let's see, put some number here and then put the buffer. And then I'm going to render that buffer as if it's text, which it technically is. And let's just make it black. Yeah, okay, so there's my number, but I think if I were to just make it 0, it's not going to show up. Yeah, see, it just completely disappears. And if I look at this, it makes sense because I'm just going straight ahead and dividing and modding from the number as if it's not 0. So I think I have to do a quick check. So here's if the number is less than 0. Wait, hold on. Yeah. So then, yeah, after that, I'm just going to do a quick else if the num is actually 0. And all I need to do is add into the buffer at character 0 the 0 character. And then add the null terminator character. And then I could return from the function. And basically do the same thing for the unsigned version. Just check. If it's 0, then just make the buffer 0 and get out of there. So hopefully by just doing that one quick thing, yeah, there it goes. It got a 0 now. And so I feel like this is probably broken as well. So let's see. So F32. So if I do like 12.35, for example, and I run it. So there it's fine. But I think if I put some number like 0.5, I'd get 12.5, which is obviously not the same as 12.05. So I think the problem with that is my decimal as int. Yeah, so I don't really think I need to do this exponent thing and then multiply this by the exponent, because that's going to just get rid of any zeros immediately following the decimal point. Right, so like if I say 0.005 and I say that the precision is, let's just say 4. Let's say the precision is 4. What I get instead is 12.50, which should be 12.0050. So I need to rework this to not do it this way. So I'm going to get rid of this exponent here. Okay, so let me try this. Let me. So the decimal value is just whatever numbers after the decimal point. So then I'm just going to, let's see. So I don't need that. And Yes, I think I'm just going to try to build this post-decimal array right here in the function rather than using one of my other functions that I wrote earlier. So let's see, what can I do? So I think I just want to make a for loop that iterates through the precision. Then I can take the decimal value. Yes, I think I can take the decimal value, multiply it by 10. So that will take whatever number is immediately after the decimal point, put it before the decimal point. And then I'm going to cast that to an unsigned int, because it's always going to be positive. So I'll call this ones. No, hold on. I don't know. Variable names are so hard. So it's just a temporary thing. So I'll just call this v for value. I don't have enough. I'm not using it. Okay. So that's just going to be the unsigned 32 casting of decimal value. So that gives me just that one value, which could potentially just be 0, right? And then I just want to add that to the post-decimal buffer. So let me make so let me do this. Let me take the counter. Actually, yeah, let me copy all that. So here I'm just going to reset the counter back to 0, but here I'm actually creating the counter. And then so post decimal at counter plus plus is equal to v plus the 0 character, right? And then after that, I want to add the null terminator character. So post decimal at counter equals that, and I don't need to increase counter because I'm just resetting it back to 0 here anyway. So I don't know. I think that might be it. I think I don't know. Probably missing something. But here it goes. And then I got a weird B for some reason. That's weird. So what if I put that back to 3? Okay, that's fine, but I don't know why if I add more precision, I get a weird thing. It's because this is going, I don't know. Okay, so maybe I should do a check that says if decimal value is equal to 0. Let's try that. So let's just say if decimal value equals 0, then we're just going to add a 0. And then else we'll do this other thing here. Nope, still getting that weird B. Why is that? Oh, wait, I'm not actually changing. Wait, yeah, I am changing decimal value. Oh, yeah, because I need to cut off the integer part of that. So this part is actually never running. So and yeah, so then I would here, actually I'll do it after. So yeah, then I want to say decimal value minus equals B. There we go. Yay. Okay. Cool. So that's it seems to be working. Let's just test it a little bit more. So 12.01 with a precision of 2. What happens there? Hey, it's working. 12.01 001 with a precision of 3. Is that give me what I want? Good enough. I mean, not good enough. It's exactly what I want. Yay. Okay, that's cool. So now what I would like to do is I want to be able to combine literal text with numerical values and have it all come together as a string. So I can render things very similar to how you would use the printf function. You put like percent and then something, and then it puts it all together for you. So let's do that. So to do that, I need to use a variable argument function. So one of those functions where you can pass in as many parameters as you want, and then it figures it all out for you, more or less. So where should I do this? I'm gonna put it in my utilities for now. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it here or not. But let's just see. So static void, yeah, void. I'm gonna call this create debug string. All right, so it's gonna take in a buffer that you're gonna fill up with the string characters. Then it's got to take in a constant string character pointer for whatever text you want to read it, whatever text you want to put with your letter or numbers. And then just ... meaning 0 or more arguments after this. Okay, so now I have to remember, I have to look up how to use, let's see, does Windows have its own variable arguments way, or does it just use the standard? It looks like the standard C way to do it. Let me see. Yeah, okay, so they're including standard arg, which, yeah, I believe that's, I could be wrong. That's probably the only way to do this. I don't know if there's like a OS specific way or something like that. But by doing that, let me see, does that compile the function now? Yeah. What if I didn't do that? What if I left that out? Oh, it still compiles. But I still think I need this to access all of these. So I'm pretty much just going to copy this example here and modify it to my needs. So I need this VA list and then this VA start, which, yeah, takes in some kind of value. So let's figure this out. So I need a VA list. It's called arg pointer. I'm going to stick with that. And then here, instead of I don't have I. But what I'm using instead, I want to believe is just my text. So let's try that. All right, it compiles. And then I'm going to get each thing by using this VA arg function. And then once I'm done, I want to end it. So I'm going to put this way down here for later. Okay, is that compile too? Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to iterate through this string, this text here, and then every time I find the percent character, I'm going to look at the character after it and determine whether I should parse the next one as an integer, float, or what have you. Eventually, I'm going to have it being able to parse like vectors and stuff too, so I could just print a whole vector on my screen by just passing in the vector. That'd be cool. So let's do this. Let's say make a constant character pointer called C. I'm going to point it at text. And then while C is not equal to, no, not C itself, but the value at C is not equal to the null terminator, or whatever you call that thing, \0. I always forget to increase C, so let's remember that here. All right, so I'm going to do a check that says if character at C is equal to the %, do a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, what I want to do is just add the character at C to my buffer here. So I'm probably going to need to keep count of how many characters I'm adding into my buffer. So let's make a counter. And then we're going to say buffer at counter plus plus equals the value at C. All right, let me compile that. And I'm just going to test it with that. See, so it should, if everything is working correctly, I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So if everything's working correctly, it should just work as if I just put in a standard string without any extra parameters. So what did I call it again? Create debug string. This is some text. Oh, I need the buffer. Okay, so that's all working, and then I should also be able to like pass in some values here. And it's not going to do anything yet, but yeah, okay, so it's still rendering the text, it's just not doing anything with this yet, so that's the next step. So let me do this. I'm going to say U32 %U, comma space, U, oh no, it's a F32, %F, and then the last one is going to be S32 with %I. Okay, so it's rendering the character after the %, but it's not rendering the %. Okay, so here, so I'm going to increase C to go to the next character. And then I'm going to check if the character at C is equal to an I, and we're going to parse an int. Else, if the character that C is looking at is a U, then I'm going to parse an unsigned int. And then else, if the character that C is looking at is an F, then we are going to parse a float. All right, so let me go back to here. So once I find a variable, I'm going to use this var here. So that would be that. I'm going to put S32. This will be a U32. And this will be an F32. So that should get me the actual numerical value at that location. Okay, so then this is going to be a U32V is equal to that. Let me just copy all this. No, that should be a sine 32. So that means this one can be a U32, and this would be an F32. Okay, so now I can just use my sine 32 to character array. So let me make a little temporary buffer here. S8, call this tbuff again, because it just sounds so fun to say. Let's make it 32 characters long, more than I need, but that's fine. Okay, so yeah, then I can say S32 to character array, passing in my value, and then tbuff. And then I need to append every character here to the end of buffer. So let's make another character. So I'll call this TC for temporary character is equal to tbuff. And then so while the character that TC is looking at does not equal the end of a string, then we are going to say buffer at counter plus plus is equal to character that TC is pointing to, and then we want to increase TC to go to the next character. Is that it? I think so. So then this would just be U32, and then this would be F32. All right, I don't know if that's going to work. That's why I'm going to test it. That almost looks promising. So U32 is 234, F32 is not seem to be working, and S32 is not seem to be working. All right, let me just do one of these at a time. All right, that's fine. That is not fine, probably because I am using the wrong data type. So V is a negative. All right, let me debug this real quick. Oh, that would be the problem. I got the wrong. Ooh. Yeah, that's better. All right, so let me undo what I had there, and then change this to be. Oh, but now it's fine. Right. So why am I getting that negative 1, 3? Okay, so let me check out just the F32 here. Okay, so V. Okay, so V's not even getting the right value from that. Why is that? V should be 324.23, whatever that is. Is it because I'm calling it my own thing? Nope. What if I did a different number? 1.5, something simple like that. I get 0, 0, 0. Why? So V is some gibberish. Then it's all 0. What other information you got for me here? So buffer, got F. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I don't know. Wait. No, that's not right. So how is V 0? Let's Google search this. VA arg float incorrect. Doesn't work with float. Why? Float is promoted to double. So if I change that to F64, what kind of changes will that provide? Still 0 though. Oh, because I'm saving it in an F32. There it goes. Okay, so everything's a double then apparently. But I should be able to treat it just as a float from there, right? Yeah, okay, so that's working. I just have to cast it as a double instead because dumbness. All right, I think that's it. Like, it seems to be working. Let me go back to my previous test. That should do it. Yeah, so the U32 is 234, the float is 324.23, and then the yeah, the sine 32 is negative 23. Yeah, so it seems to be working. Cool. What do I got on my to-do list here? Make a render text function with variable arguments. Okay, so I got my function that creates a debug string, but it would be nice to be able to do that directly here when I'm rendering the text, right? Let me see. So many decisions to make. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't feel like doing any more text stuff. I've been working on that for a few days now. I want to kind of move on, so I'm going to put an asterisk by this because it's kind of done, but I can make it better. Instead of having to build a buffer every time, I could just make a render text function that render debug text. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. No, I'll wait till I actually need to do that. I'm really set up for that. It won't take that long. So what else can I do? Still kind of early. Gamepad inputs. Let's try that. Let's see. Do I have my... Got a gamepad right here. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this thing to work with my game. Yes, I'm not going to plug it in yet. I'm going to look up, because I honestly don't know how to do this. So let's look it up. Go back here to you. What if I just type in gamepad? What is that going to have for me? Nothing. Gamepad, game space pad, game development, padding. Gamepad. What did they call it? Controller? What if I type in Xbox controller? All right, I give up. It's not what I want. Oh, gamepad and vibrations. Maybe that's it. Input for games. Gamepads, gamepads, gamepads. It's kind of like jumping the gun. I don't want vibration yet. I need to know how to get the gamepad to just work. Game, broadcast, no. Or is this, does this have it on there? No, this is like very specific code. But they do call it gamepad, so why when I search for just gamepad, you get me nothing. Gamepad and remote control, there we go. That's more or less what I'm looking for. Here we go, maybe. This is not what I want. Xbox gamepad. Gamepad class? No. What about game controller? X input. What about a classic Google search here? Windows, Gamepad, input. This is Windows Gamepad. What do you got for me? Nope, I don't want to buy one. Windows, or let me try Win32 Gamepad input. X input. I think that's what I want. X input sounds very familiar. X input device. Don't think that's what I want either. Or is it co-create? No. X input gamepad. Yeah, I think this, I'm getting closer. I think that's what I want. I think this is what I was looking for. What do I need to run this? Give me the... Yeah, so I need xinput.h and just xinput.lib. Okay, so let's add those. And then let's go to my build. And we're going to tack on X input. Everything still builds. Yes. All right, so okay, so I need all of this more or less, preferably less. Let's do this here. All right. So, okay, so I'm gonna iterate through all of this X user max count. I'm assuming that's how many X input devices I have plugged in currently. Then I gotta make one of these X input states. I don't need to zero the memory of that as long as I do that. And so then I call this get or input get state function. Passing in I, which is just keeping count of everything. And then if I am successful, do whatever there. If I'm not successful, do whatever here. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to put a message box in here just to see if this is even doing anything. How do you spell success? Is it two C's? Okay, so it should say failure because I don't have anything plugged in. Failure, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I got 5 failures, which is probably what I want. Okay, so now I'm going to plug this in. Hopefully I'll get a do-do-do-do. I do. And then if I run it again, success. Failure, 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 failure. Okay, cool. So it's actually reading the controller. I'm surprised. Right. What else? So then supposedly I could just use that state. With the gamepad. So state.gamepad, thumb left and still, I'm assuming that's stick, thumb, left X and left Y. Okay, so let's do this. Let us okay, so let's do this. Let's put these here. And I can now use my new function here. So left X %F and then left Y %F, and then I'm going to put LX comma LY. So does that compile? No, because it doesn't know what state is, and that's because state should probably be created out here. Oh, I don't need to print message boxes. In fact, I'll just leave that for now. Okay, so I'm getting some values here, but when I move my sticks, when I move my left stick, it's not changing. So why? Throughout the duration of an application, getting state from a controller will probably be done most often from frame to frame. Oh, so I got to do this like every frame. This seems highly inefficient to iterate through all my controller imports every frame. So I think the better thing to do, or better thing to be, well, once I get the state, so actually really all I need to do is keep track of what I is. So let's do this. Let's say, what is I? I is a D word. What's a D word? (64-bit) integer value. So let's make a U64, wait, 64-bit integer, signed integer, I'm assuming. So signed 64. What do I call this? I'll call this gamepad. I'll just call it index. I don't know. So if this is successful, then I'll say gamepad index is equal to I. And then I could probably break out of that loop. And then else, I don't care, do nothing. So then I need to do that. And so instead of that, it's going to be my gamepad index. oh, hey, it worked and then it crashed. That's weird. So I probably still want to check the error every time. And then only do this stuff. Well, shoot. All right, so I'm going to create this up here then. But then also do it again inside this. And I don't need to redefine it. Hey, seems to be working. It works to a point and then it crashes. Let me debug this. See if it'll... There we go. Okay. Oh, it's actually my binary search that's crapping out. What? Oh, probably because the numbers are too big for my buffer. Or I'm getting characters that are not in the array. Yeah, so if numbers get too big and funky, then it crashes, and I don't know why. Is that because my buffer's too small? What if I just make that bigger? Oh wait, no, I bet you I know what it is. No, I don't know what it is. Well, actually, yeah, that seems to have fixed it. Yeah, so I think I was just trying to render more than 256 characters. You know what, I could also make this smaller too. I don't need to have it so large. There we go. All right, cool. So I'm glad I got that working. I don't know if I really feel like going through and formalizing all this tonight. What else do I gotta do? Wait, what happened? There we go. Getting the controller state dead zone. Dead zone is movement values. Yeah, I do definitely need to consider that, because if you notice, I'm not even touching it and it's at 128 negative 129. 0.00G for some reason. Whatever. So what do they say? They basically say to get the length of the thing. Input dead zone. So they have these built-in dead zones, it seems like. I don't know, isn't it really dependent on the controller and the computer? I don't know. I got some good progress done. It's I don't really feel like going too far in depth in this because this is gonna be pretty complex, I think. So I think I'm gonna save that for next time. I'm gonna formalize the gamepad inputs and then hopefully be able to move my camera around using the gamepad and not just a keyboard and mouse. So that would be cool. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Let me save it. Git add everything. Git commit. More text goodness and the start of gamepad inputs. All right, with that, I'm out. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.